Alright, everyone. Let's get straight into this because what unfolded today is astonishing. I'm in my home office, coffee beside me, reviewing notes from a conversation that took place earlier this morning, Tuesday, February 10th, 2026, and I'm still processing it. The disappearance of Nancy Guthrie has now reached day 10. Since the missed ransom deadline yesterday, there have been no new public leads, and the tension across the country is palpable. Search teams continue combing the rugged Catalina foothills. Tips keep flooding in. Meanwhile, Savannah Guthrie has remained silent since her last recorded plea, fueling even more speculation. But today, something changed, and it came from Drew Barrymore. Drew, who turns 51 next week, the ever-candid free spirit who has endured the highs and lows of Hollywood and rebuilt herself in the public eye, opened up in a way I've never witnessed before. Not on her daytime show, not in a magazine feature, not on social media where she's usually transparent about her life. Instead, she spoke candidly inside a private group chat shared among 5 women. All of us connected through industry events, panels, and award show after parties where both she and Savannah have crossed paths. It was meant to be a simple check-in, a how are you holding up moment amid the chaos of this case. Instead, Drew transformed it into something far deeper. She began speaking, truly speaking, about Savannah and Nancy in a way that reframed everything. Afterward, one woman messaged me privately. Did that just happen? Did Drew really drop that? Yes, she did. And if you've been following this case as closely as I have, hoping for NY's safe return, what she shared matters. This wasn't gossip. It was insight, raw and personal. That explains Savannah's almost unsettling composure through this nightmare. Drew described a mother-daughter dynamic built on immense love, but threaded with silent expectations, and it connects directly to why this disappearance feels like it's breaking Savannah internally while she appears externally unshaken. The call began at 10:15 a.m. Pacific time. Drew was in Los Angeles, fresh from the school drop-off, hair pulled into a messy bun, no makeup, radiating her familiar warmth and laughter. We were venting about the case, how heartbreaking the videos were, how suffocating the silence felt after the ransom deadline passed. Then Drew's tone shifted. Guys, she said softly, her usual bubbly cadence fading. There's something about Savannah and her mom that explains why she's acting the way she is right now. We all leaned in. Drew continued by comparing Savannah's upbringing to her own well-documented history. You know how I've talked about my mom's stuff? The chaos, the independence too young, the therapy to unpack it? Savannah's situation is the opposite. It's ironclad. After her husband died, Nancy locked everything down. Structure. Standards. This belief that love means making your kids tougher than the world. And Savannah, as the oldest, absorbed the full force of that. She emphasized that Nancy loved her daughter deeply, adored her even. But that affection came wrapped in challenge. Be stronger. Be better. Don't show weakness because weakness invites harm. Drew recalled conversations over the years, brief exchanges at charity galas, panels, and private events. Savannah would often describe her mother as her rock, crediting her for shaping who she became. But beneath that pride, Drew sensed something else. Nancy hadn't simply raised Savannah. She had forged her to be unbreakable. And now with Nancy gone, taken from her own home, blood on the porch, pacemaker silent, that forging is simultaneously protecting Savannah and tearing her apart. Drew's insight landed heavily. She has appeared multiple times on the Today Show, and the 2 women have bonded over the challenges of motherhood and public life. Drew, who openly champions vulnerability after surviving her own turbulent childhood, sees Savannah's composure through a different lens. The secret, Drew explained, isn't some dark scandal. It's simpler and sadder. NY's love was tied to resilience. Not grades or fame, but strength. Cry in private if you have to. In public, you're the rock. She shared an example from Savannah's early career. Nervous before a major network opportunity, Savannah had called her mother. NY's response: nerves are for people who aren't prepared. Are you prepared? When Savannah answered yes, Nancy told her to go do it perfectly. Not reassurance, a challenge. That, Drew said, was the pattern. Love intertwined with proving you were tough enough to deserve it. Then she connected it to the disappearance timeline. Day 1, the house is discovered empty. Blood evidence confirmed. No public statement from Savannah. Day 2, FBI involvement intensifies. Silence. Day 3. Ransom notes surface demanding Bitcoin. Still nothing. Only on day 4 did Savannah release her first video. Why the delay? Drew asked. Because cracking early would look weak. Nancy taught her to gather herself, structure her message, and present strength, not panic. Drew urged us to rewatch that first video with this framework in mind. Savannah begins with gratitude, thanking searchers and supporters. She describes her mother as light, filled, and faithful. She acknowledges the ransom reports without trembling. Only then does she plead for proof of life. The delivery is measured, deliberate, curated rather than chaotic. The second video where Savannah states, "We will pay," struck Drew deeply. The words were spoken with calm resolve, as though closing a transaction, not offering millions for her mother's safety. No visible desperation, just clarity. That's conditioning, Drew said. Agony is private. Public is for control. She recalled another memory from a 2018 Women in Media panel. Savannah had referenced a difficult personal stretch and mentioned calling her mother. NY's advice. Overwhelmed is a mindset. Change it. Savannah had spoken about it with gratitude, but Drew noticed the weight beneath it. Right now, Drew believes that same internal pressure is driving Savannah's response. The disappearance isn't just a crime. It feels like a test of whether Savannah can embody the unbreakable standard Nancy instilled. Drew became emotional as she reflected on her own history. Unlike her complicated, distant maternal relationship, Savannah's bond with Nancy is intensely close, but shaped by the need to perform strength. The vanishing with blood evidence and medical urgency represents something Savannah cannot control, the ultimate unfixable crisis. Yet she continues trying through structured pleas and dignified resolve. If Nancy comes home, Drew said quietly, Savannah will need to hear she never had to earn love, that she was enough from the start. She asked us to keep her reflections private for now, to allow the search to continue without added noise, but to hold on to this understanding. Later in the conversation, Drew revisited the timeline again, emphasizing Savannah's strategic silence. Nancy didn't raise a reactor, she said. She raised a strategist. Waiting days to speak wasn't indifference. It was discipline. Drew also reflected on how Savannah often ended her pleas with "stay strong." To Drew, that phrase functions as both encouragement to her mother and a mirror to herself. Stay strong as she was taught. Stay strong to remain worthy. As day 10 unfolds, no new ransom message.